Am I the a-hole for informing the IRS my ex intentionally, incorrectly, claimed our child? I am a single mother with 2 children. The kids have 4 nights per month with their dad. When our parenting plan was developed, we agreed to allow him to claim the oldest child so as long support payments were current. At the time, he had 10 overnights. 2 years ago, I informed him that because he was $6,000 behind in support, I planned to exercise our agreement and claim both children. He responded with some selective words and told me that since I make more than him, 66% of our collective income, I didn't need the money. When I filed my taxes, they were rejected stating that my son was already claimed. I ended up submitting my taxes manually, providing copies of our parenting plan, custody agreement, proof of support arrears, and our email exchange stating my intent. While it took 9 months, I finally received my return, along with the money from his return that was garnished due to his owing. 2 weeks ago, he informed me that the IRS had communicated that he didn't have the right to claim our child from 2 years ago, and he now owes $6,000. He asked if I was aware and if I had claimed our oldest. I explained the circumstances and that yes, I had challenged his filing. He is now not speaking to me. AITA for informing the IRS and not just letting him claim despite our agreement? Am I the a-hole for cleaning a grave of a person that isn't related to me? To keep it short and simple, I went down to the graveyard my grandpa is buried at yesterday to clean up his grave. When I got to my gramps' grave, someone had already tidied it up, so I thought he'd clean up the grave most in need of it. I found the grave of a 4-year-old covered in leaves and weeds and cleaned it up. I spent about an hour on it, and when I was right about done, an older couple came up to me and asked what I was doing. I told them I was cleaning up a grave because someone had done it for my grandpa. As soon as it was because my grandpa's grave had been cleaned up, they started talking about how I didn't know whether the weeds and dead leaves scattered around the grave was on purpose or not, and they told me to leave. I kept working as they talked smack, and then I drove off. So I'm pretty sure I'm not, but am I the asshole? Am I the a-hole for not taking my youngest children on their weekend because my oldest daughter had a baby? This is messy. I 40 have been married to my wife Cindy off and on. We had a child together who is now 17. We had a rocky part in our marriage and split for a few years, where I met a woman, Stacy. We were together for a while, having twins together, ages 12. Stacy and I split up, BC she ended up being unfaithful. 2 years later I had reconciled with Cindy. We got my twins every weekend due to our work schedules. This past weekend my oldest daughter went into early labor. It was also my weekend with my twins. I had told Stacy on the way to the hospital that I would not be able to have them this weekend due to this. I had put my phone on silent and away, due to a lot going on. When I returned to my phone, I had a bunch of text from Stacy saying how I needed to go home and be with my twins, and how Cindy could handle this situation. I told her absolutely not, that I wasn't missing the birth of my grandchild. She then responded angrily saying how I was picking my oldest daughter over my youngest and how wrong that was since they can only see me on the weekends anyways. I tried texting and calling multiple times throughout the weekend, getting no responses. Am I the a-hole for taking my nephew to class with me? I, 19, just had my nephew, 5, for a week while my sister and Bill took care of a family emergency. It was very last minute. They called and asked if I could keep him, and he was at my apartment an hour and a half later. They're an hour away from me. I'm a full-time college student and I work at a daycare part-time. I couldn't drive him to his school and pick him up because of the distance, so I emailed all of my professors and my boss and asked if he could come to class/work with me. They were all okay with it. When I took him to class, he had an iPad and headphones, a little Lego set, and coloring books and crayons. He sat quietly in the back of class every day. He was also great at my work. The problem is, now I have people in a few of my classes upset that I brought him. They're saying it's distracting and I should have gotten a babysitter instead of taking him with me. None of my professors had a problem with it. Some even complimented me on how well behaved he was, but I wanted to know if I was the asshole. Am I the a-hole for insinuating that this young lady was lying? I 50F have a son 23M who is expecting a child with a young lady 18F. The issue is, he does not know the young lady very well and doesn't have much interest in speaking to her at the moment, so we have a paternity test scheduled pretty soon so we can know before the baby is born. Although my son is not interested in speaking to her, I am sure he will make a great father as he will warm up to the reality as time goes by. I met this young lady only a few weeks ago. She is 3 months along. She has had no interest in getting prenatal care, so I've scheduled an appointment for her. I offered her a ride and she made an excuse as to why she couldn't go. I then called her yesterday and she said she was having pain, so I insisted she go to the hospital. She didn't want to go, and said it was no longer bothering her and she didn't want to go without my son. However, I was already on the way, and when I came, she wouldn't come outside, so I left, upset. Today, she sent me a video of a sonogram and I said to her, congrats. Had you texted that you were going to a doctor or whatever you have going on, someone would not have minded being there for you. It's questionable how you are showing this today when we were only trying to help you yesterday to make sure that you and the baby were okay. She felt disrespected and took it that I was saying she was lying about being pregnant. However, I don't care how she takes it because I didn't call her a liar, and I don't know if she is. AITA for the way I approached her? I feel my message was quite polite. Don't see how I insinuated she was lying and feel she just took it the wrong way.